Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share another scrapbook process video with you. Today I am super excited to share this one with you. It is a project using the brand new No Limits collection from Coco Vanilla Studio. Now, to say I was excited to get a new boy collection is probably an understatement, because if you have been following me for a little while, you will know I have twin boys. They are now 9. And obviously I have a lot more photos of them than my teenage daughter to scrap. So getting a new boy collection is always very exciting. So this was my first layout, as I said, using this collection. So I decided to do a mixed media layout because if you have been following me a while, you know that I do like to get my hands dirty as well. So I was starting off there with some white cardstock. It's just a 300 GSM. Smooth white, that is my preferred cardstock. I have not prepped this cardstock with anything at all. It's just as it comes. I've trimmed it down to measure 11 by 11 because it was my intention to mount this on a sheet of pattern paper to act as a border. So I was working with several different mediums here. So the first one that I have got on the page there was a Distress Oxide, and I used carved pumpkin for that. So to apply that, I just swiped it on my messy mat, mixed a bit of water with it using my big wide 2-inch number 4 brush, and then just used a horizontal stroke to apply it across the top of the page. And then what I actually wanted to do was contrast that with some acrylic paint down the bottom. So I used my favourite Montmartre Payne's Grey acrylic paint, and I simply applied that with a brayer. I really was looking for not only the contrast in a lighter shade at the top and a darker shade at the bottom, but I was also looking at a contrast in the application methods and the way they would look on the page. You'll see how it works when I start to put this design together. This is a technique that I've done a few times before in terms of using totally different mediums on both the top and bottom half of the page. And then I tend to place my focal point across that line where they meet in the middle. So you can see that I have taken a sheet of pattern paper. Now I have to say that out of all of the papers in this collection, this one, this black paper with the star print on it, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, sorry about that, was the one that really caught my eye. Like I love black and I love working with black in my pages. And this one I was attracted to and had to use it straight up. So I cut the guts out of the paper because, as you know, I'm a bit of a tight ass when it comes to paper. I don't like to waste the whole sheet, only to stick it behind the cardstock. So I gutted the paper and mounted my cardstock over the top. Then I went in with another medium. So I was actually using the Crafters Workshop Light and Fluffy modelling paste there, and just a little stencil that I had in my stash just to add those circular shapes to the page. I thought it would work well with some of the icons, which are sort of planetary in this collection. And I didn't want to just go, even though I knew I was going to use stars, I didn't want to go with a star stencil and run the star theme all over my page. So that's why I chose that shape there. It's just a little bit sort of scattered and random. And then I actually did some stamping over the top. Now, the stamp that I used was a rubber stamp from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. It's actually called Sky of Stars Background off the top of my head. It's one of my favourite. It's got tiny little stars on it and dots and stuff, and it just adds that extra layer to your background and gives your page a bit more depth. So as you can see, I am racing ahead with this page here. I have mounted my photo, well, I've cut a photo mat for my photo, and I've chosen that same paper, which is the black one with the star print. Only this time I've grabbed it from the A5 paper stack because it's on a slightly smaller scale to print. And to be honest, I didn't want to use up the larger piece that I had from gutting the paper because I may need a larger piece for another purpose. So what I've done now is I've got two other pattern papers from the collection. They're both 12 by 12s. You can see I've got that star print there. Now that star print on the 12 by 12 paper features a sort of colour gradient. It runs from cools on one side to warms on the other. I chose that corner there that had those cool colours because I wanted to contrast that with obviously that bit of orange that I was sticking out underneath. So again, I'm looking for that contrast of warms and cools, just like I did with my background. Now, in my stack there, I have also added a paper doily. That's just a grey one, a soft grey that I had in my stash. I was looking at possibly using a colour for this, but I really wanted the colour on that background and that torn orange paper there to pop and tie in with my son's shirt. So I decided to go with something a bit more neutral, which is why I chose the grey. Now, I do have a lot of white doilies in my stash, but the white doilies that I have, they're really very pretty. The lace is very intricate and they are definitely better suited to a feminine page. Now, one of my other signatures that you can see I'm going in with there is some frayed gauze. I like using gauze on my pages because it adds a lot of texture to the page and it just gives you another visual element to look at. I've used my Helmer 450, which is my preferred adhesive for sticking anything down when it comes to gauze. Gauze doesn't tend to like a lot of the traditional glues like the Scotch Tacky. It doesn't really like the Scotch Tacky glue very much, which is what I use in my fine line bottle for most of my paperwork. So I always grab my Helmer 450 to stick my photo down on top of that gauze. Now, the paper that you can see me cutting up here is actually the cut-apart sheet, but it's the cut-apart sheet from the A5 paper stack. So you can see that it's scaled down a lot smaller than the 12 by 12 version, and I was after that really cute little journaling tag there to tuck under the edge of my photo. Now, in my bowl here, I've got the die-cut ephemera pack, and I hadn't really had a chance to rifle through this much other than when I did the unboxing before I started this page. So I'm still a little bit unfamiliar with all the pieces that are in there. So this did take me a little more fiddling than usual. I might have said this to you previously, but when I get a new collection, I tend to quite often struggle and be fairly indecisive with what I'm going to use from it because on one hand, I want to use everything, but on the other hand, I want to keep everything, if that makes sense. So I always feel, and then on the other hand, I feel obliged that I need to get as much on the page as I possibly can. And on the other hand, I just want to keep it all and basically roll around in it and be happy. So you will see that this one's not quite as free-flowing when it came to choosing like the embellishments and the die cuts. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the photo that I am scrapping here. It's a photo of my sons and my hubby, and this was taken at McDonald's the day we took them to get their COVID vaccinations. Now, just a disclaimer, I appreciate that everyone has different views about getting vaccinated, not getting vaccinated, whatever. I'll just remind you that this is not the place to air your views. Whatever your view is, you're entitled to it, but I don't want to start any kind of political debate in my comments about the validity of vaccinations. End of rant. Rightio, let's get stuck back into this page. So you can see that I am tucking in the die cut pieces around my photo there, and the reason I actually just went on a tangent about the subject of this photo relates to that embellishment that I just stuck down, which is the little rocket, because to be honest, when I saw these rockets, they made me think of needles, because needles have been quite a subject of conversation around the world recently. So they did make me think of needles, and I thought, well, hell, they could work on this page. So that's why I've tucked that little one up the top there with that other little piece that says boom. I've got the little devil horn hand there, which I absolutely love. I've got a variety of stars that I'm tucking in around, and I'm getting better. Now I'm getting more familiar with what's in that bowl. I'm just doing my good old pick and stick, as I like to say. That's one of my very technical methods of doing things. You'll see that I sort of flip back and forth between embellishments. I'm looking at the sticker sheet, I'm looking at the chipboard sticker sheet, I'm looking at the die cut ephemera there, trying to decide what I'm going to put on there. I do like to generally run something along the bottom of my photo like that. So that little You're the Best banner piece, which came from the chipboard sticker sheet, was perfect. And I think it might have been the only piece I ended up using from the chipboard stickers because, you know, I got distracted by all the other pretty things in front of me, and no doubt I'll get stuck into them on a future project. So that little devil horn hand there was perfect for me to use because it allowed me, as I do with most of my embellishments, I like to bend up bits away from the page. So that allowed me to bend the fingers up away from the page, and it just looks super cool. I was attracted to that piece when I first did my flick through during my unboxing, so I was really happy to get it on my first project from this collection. So there I've got the accessory sticker sheet. I'm just sticking on a few small phrase stickers. This is like these are the puffy stickers. And I have to tell you, they are like my favorite thing. I wish I had like 100 packs of these. I wanted to use them, but at the same time, I really wanted to hoard them because I know I'm going to be so sad when these run out. So I just stuck a few on there just to sort of finish off my embellishment clusters. And now I'm going in with one of the wood buttons. They're the ones that have got the epoxy centers, and it just says "You Rock," and I just popped it there next to my journaling. Other than that, I stamped the date down in the corner, and that was pretty much it. I hope you have enjoyed watching this process video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you've got any questions, pop them below. I'll see you next time. Bye.